It's time to bring the issues to the center of the table with Will Orbina and SB the Anomaly. This is Commen Grounds. Let's go!
It's Commen Grounds. I'm Will Orbina. I'm an actor, producer, and entrepreneur.
I'm SB the Anomaly. What's going on, y'all? Stealth Bomber. I'm an international MC, choreographer, actor, published author, writer, motivational speaker, things of that nature, so on and so forth. What's going on, man?
How's it going, SB? It's great to be here. It's our first show here on GKI Radio. Very excited
Yeah,
about this.
yeah. Shout out to GKI Radio. Super grateful for the opportunity. I feel awesome. I'm ready to share some thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our new home. So hopefully we'll be here, a long time. And, our listeners enjoy the show, enjoy what we have for them. Like I said before, this is our first show. So we want to go ahead and introduce ourselves to the audience, to the listeners, so they can know who we are, who they're listening to, who the voices that are, coming through, who they are. So, like I said earlier, my name is Will Urbina. I'm an actor, I'm a producer and entrepreneur. I've been in the TV and film industry for over 20 years. I work in production. I have my own production company, and we mainly focus on short films, TV commercials, and we're based out of the Central Florida area. And taking a stab at this radio show, and you know uh, partnering up with USB, and feels great.
It is. It's a great time. I'm excited, brother. It's gonna be awesome. I'm SB the Anomaly. I've been, doing my thing for a very long time. I have my hand in different cookie jars, I guess you can say, from music to writing to speaking to dancing to mentoring. But my main things are being an MC, and most people might call that a rapper, but I rhyme and I dance. Those are like my two main lanes that I kind of drift in and out of. But I pretty much do anything in the realm of communication and entertainment for the most part, to be honest with you. And I'm
And
excited.
you teach dancing from what I know. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've been teaching dancing since I was 15. So it's been 20 years.
and to the young ones too, which is I seen some of your videos, and they're pretty cool to see those young kids learning how to dance and all that. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah. My youngest student is 4 years old. She's
Well,
amazing. So yeah, I've been teaching middle school, high school, adults. I recently taught teachers how to teach hip hop in the schools out here in Volusia, which was interesting. So I've been very fortunate to be around, the right people, good energy, and of course, just my love of hip hop and the culture that it represents. Being able to spread that through the art form of dance is amazing.
very nice. So, a little bit about our show. Since it is our first show, I want our listeners to know what the show is about. Common Grounds is a show that it's very dear to us. Me and SB met a few months ago at an event in Central Florida, and we sat down and said, um, we were looking for something to do differently. And that day, we just started talking like friends, like we were just in a round table. And I remember, I think it was like we only had met like maybe 30 minutes, and we just started talking about any topic, just random topic of anything that was just happening in the world at that time. And that's how Common Grounds came. Um, in this show, we will talk about things that matter to society, that matter to people, to young people in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s, things that are happening in people's lives. And some topics might not be very comfortable to talk about, but we are going to go ahead and talk about those topics because that's
Yeah.
the only way that us as society can move forward in certain things. Um, and we want to go ahead and be that voice that, you can say, I'm going through this, or I've been through this, and I can relate. And I want our audience to know that we are also humans, that we gone through our experiences.
Yeah, most certainly. I think the rather I know one of the biggest things about the show and just anyone that is speaking truth is that relatability. The capability to have relatability is a really good ability, right? Because everybody is going through the same thing in their own way, and we like to believe that we are ostracized from others and we're so different. And, you know, if we turn on the lights off and we all sit in a room, we're all the same. But once the lights cut on, we're all different all of a sudden. But we're all going through the same things. And the cool thing about this show is that we're going to talk about stuff that anyone who is human has either gone through or will go through. So
Yeah,
one way or another, there will be a common ground, no pun intended.
exactly. And I remember when me and you met, we shared something that me and you were going through, and I had already gone through. So
Hmm.
it's one of the reasons why what you say, either you've gone through or you're gonna go through.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
um, that's this is what the show is about, and we're gonna do it with the most respect to our listeners, and we want to go ahead and do it with the most, um, you know, good intentions that we have. Also, Common Grounds, we want this show to be interactive show. We want to listen. We want to hear from you guys, from our listeners. We want to hear from our audience, and you can give us a call and leave our message and leave a comment about the show. So
Yeah.
our phone number, I'll give out the phone number in a little bit, but this is something cool that we want, because there's a lot of shows out there that don't, they just talk and they don't hear from their audience.
Yeah, it's really important that we get to connect, because we're not just talking to talk. We would love to hear what you think, feel, and be honest.
Yeah,
We want to know for sure.
yeah, absolutely. Maybe there's something that I said that you didn't enjoy, and you just want to say that, hey, Will, you really, yeah, you suck or something, and our audience can do that, and we love to, we want to hear that. We want to go ahead and hear from our listeners, definitely. So
Yeah.
um the phone number that you can reach us is 407 476 9059, and also our Instagram page at Common Grounds Radio. So start following us, start listening. There's going to be a lot of things there that are going to be great for listeners. Things that we're building. For our audience, and it's gonna be great. So this is the start of our journey together, and hopefully for many many more.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear the feedback. I'm excited to share thoughts. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. It's gonna be dope.
Yeah. So today's I wanted to talk to you about something, because I know that me and you are, we are in the entertainment business.
Mhm.
You as a somebody that does a lot of things, raps and motivational speaker and dancer, and me as actor, producer. um we're in this world, but for us, or at least for me, it had not come very easily, and it's
Yeah.
still, there's a lot of ground to that I need to do.
Yeah.
um and that's something that I wanted to talk to you about today, and maybe our audience can kind of relate. Something like, to me, being on a radio station and doing the show, it's a dream come true. I cannot deny it. It's a dream come true, and it feels amazing what we're
Yeah.
doing here.
For sure.
So, but there's a lot of people out there that sometimes they can't get those dreams, or they can't make those dreams come true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I feel that everybody can either relate to or can most certainly understand. How do you, for lack of a better word, maintain the course that leads you to the dreams that you aspire to acquire while simultaneously paying bills. That's what it breaks down to. How do you pay the bills and maintain the thrill of you trying to do the things that you love to do? It's very difficult.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to think that following your dream is just being an entertainer or
Yeah,
being
yeah,
an
no,
actor.
that's not.
Or following your dreams can be in many ways. I mean, it can be you being, getting your law degree, or being a doctor, or I mean, having your own business. I mean, it could be a lot of things, but
Yeah,
you know
yeah. I mean, there's that stigma, like you said, right? Like people think, oh, you're talking about being a rapper or an athlete. No, I mean, it could be anything. Whatever it is.
so how do I mean, and that's where the conflict comes, at least for me at the beginning. How do
Yeah.
my life when I had my son, when my son was born, my life completely changed, and I felt like I had to put my life and my dreams aside. How do you tell somebody, or what can you tell somebody out there that wants to do something, but is they're not able to because of financial reasons, or because they can't go back to school, or because they feel like they're too old, or because they just think their time's passed?
Well, I think you just said it, right? They think that their time has passed. So number one is you have to have the mindset. A lot of times we're looking on the outside for that motivation, but ironically, the motivation is within. It's within. If you have the mind for it, then the body will follow. The same way, wherever the head goes, the body follows, right? It's the same thing physically and mentally, right? So that's the first problem, believing that you are worth it and deserve it. Because to be honest with you, a lot of people don't think they really deserve it. They don't.
And a dream is like a goal to some people, or to a lot, and I
Yeah,
feel like everybody deserves it.
yeah, everyone deserves fulfillment, which eventually spirals into happiness, right? You have to accept the fact that you deserve it. And a lot of people have been told they don't deserve it or have been led to believe they don't by close people in their life, family members or people who they have trust, as they were getting older in relationships or friendships have kind of kicked them down because people don't know how to be happy for somebody else they know, which is why strangers tend to be more excited for us than people that we know about our accomplishments, right? If I go up to someone I don't know on the street, or I'm at a park bench or on a park bench rather, and I'm like, hey, I just did this or whatever, they're gonna say, wow, that's really cool. Good for you. Congratulations. But if that person knew me personally and we had a history, they might not have that same energy because people feel uncomfortable feeling below those that they know. Jealousy, insecurity. It's a lot that plays into it. So we have to first get over the hurdle of not believing that we deserve what we want, which seems like simple, right? But it's really not.
And also the scare, or being afraid. There's a lot of people out there, including myself, because I I was scared for many years and very afraid of accomplishing certain things. Not that I doubted myself. I knew I could do it,
Yeah.
but it was just a fact of, being um afraid of taking that step, because we fall into that comfort zone. We fall into that stage that we feel comfort. We get our check every 2 weeks, and we're okay with it, with our jobs and our careers. So we're going to go to a quick commercial, but once we come back from that, I want you to tell me, or I want you to to touch that topic, or that why do we get into this comfort zone, and that's what stops us sometimes, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you're listening to Common Grounds. We'll be right back after these few commercial breaks. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we're back, and thank you for staying tuned. So, as we were touching the topic of, or we were speaking on the comfort zone of when
Yeah,
people start getting comfortable, and they tend to put those dreams aside because you feel comfortable. I'm gonna give you an example for me. For many years, I worked at a corporate job, and I was comfortable. I used to get my paycheck every 2 weeks. I had good health insurance, dental insurance. I was good, and so there was no need for me to look for any further. But I was not feeling happy myself. So how do people get out of that comfort zone?
that's a great question. And I'm glad that you said what you said because people relate to that, right? Benefits, having a job for an extended period of time, being a subject matter expert of whatever field your vocation is in. So you pretty much set the tone of what you said. You weren't happy. Something was off. I think it's maddening when you know you should be fine, right? On paper, you're checking all these boxes, right? But something is still off. So-
I
And
mean,
yeah, and speak on that a little bit. Like when you realized that, what was that like for you?
I was pretty miserable. Just a few weeks ago I had an interview with another podcaster, and we were talking about my career, and he said to me, "What was the reason you went into this business?" And I said to him, "Well, one of them because I love the business. Love film, TV, communication, and one of the reasons also was because I was miserable working that 9 to 5 job. I didn't take the leap until later in my life. Believe it or not, I'm not as young as I might look. you know, but I didn't take the leap because for many years I was comfortable. I was very comfortable with the way things were, and that's what happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think, well, not that I think, I know that once a person has entered a routine and mastered it, the idea of no longer having that mastery is scary. We also don't like not being in control. We don't like to gamble on things that are not a sure shot in our mind,
That's a great point.
which is interesting to me because if you're going to gamble on anything, why would you not gamble on you? You should know you better than anything else. You've been with you your whole life, right? But we forget that. And that's why I was saying the first thing is the mind, believing that it's actually in yours, in your destiny, in your possession, in your birthright, and wherever you want to call it, right? You can call it destiny, you call it whatever, however you want to perceive it, as long as you achieve it because you believe it, that's all that matters to me. So for me, the first thing is the mind. The second thing is awareness. You have to know your position. That's why navigation systems are so powerful because a navigation knows exactly where you're at. And you tell it, I want to go to Starbucks over here, or I want to go over here, right? It can look at your exact coordinates and say, okay, to get to this destination, it's going to take 20 minutes. And in fact, it knows where you're at so well, and it knows where you want to go so well that it can offer you alternate solutions if a highway gets closed off or something out of the ordinary happens, or if you take the wrong turn, it can redirect you back to where you need to go.
sometimes it's a little stubborn and it gets stuck and tells me to make a U-turn and make a U-turn and make a
Yeah,
U-turn. It doesn't
yeah,
give me an alternate. So
yeah, and we need that. We need to have that. I'm glad you said that. Exactly. Sometimes we veer off and it's like, no, you have to get back on. And we
right.
keep looking for a shortcut. We keep looking for a different way. No, get back on the course and go do what you need to do. And that's powerful because people are so quick to look for the shortcut. But unfortunately, no one is there to say, get back on track. The person that's controlling the direction of the car going the wrong way is the same person that has to make that conscious decision to say, no, you know what, let me stop going the wrong way. And that's what the problem is with that. So we need to not only know where we are, but genuinely know where we want to go. You ask a person, what do you want? I want to be rich. What does that mean exactly? Does rich mean a private jet? Does rich mean 5 houses? Does rich mean your family no longer has to work? Like, what exactly is the goal? You said dreams are goals, right? Well, what is that goal? Like, what is that? And what does it mean? Are you creating a destiny or are you doing things that make sense to that? Like, if you want to be a professional wrestler, you probably shouldn't be doing stocks. You should probably be in the gym flipping and lifting and slamming people, right? And that doesn't mean you can't do stocks and wrestle. What I'm saying is that you have to be mindful of the fact that how you spend your time is who you are.
And sometimes dreams and are not for the impatient ones.
Never, they never are.
The dreams and your goals take time. I mean, I mean, this is something that I think it should be pretty obvious for everybody. But there's people that give up pretty quickly, and I've known a few people in the industry that give up.
And that goes with I love to think about the destination, but I don't love the process. Like I'm so infatuated with being a big movie star, but you're not infatuated with acting. I have friends that have been in acting school, been in classes. I'm very fortunate that I've never had to take classes. I just, from what I've done in life, have acquired the ability to act at a decent level. And I have people who are my mentors who are SAG and, they taught at schools and they take me under their wing. But I can only do what I can do because I've spent years in those type of settings. So I just love to entertain. So I never thought about acting. I just love performing and entertaining and do what I do. And it just, as a ripple effect, created whatever I am right now as an actor. But if I wanted to be in a movie and all I cared about was being famous, yeah, that could drive me to work harder, but that could also mess me up mentally and emotionally if I don't get the part that I want after like a couple of auditions.
So going back to the some of the responsibilities or some of the things that life throws at you, um, I knew an actor a few years ago, very talented person, and he did he did a film that I was involved in. Then he told me that he had some personal things to take care of, and he was no longer going to be you know uh, I guess part of this world. Um, those are things that people encounter, and those are things that you have to put on the weight balance. Do I go live a normal life because I need to take care of family, parents that might be sick, or children, or do I keep going for myself? Those are some of tough situations that people have to um, you know um, think about. And maybe in our first show, we might get people saying, well, you guys are just here sitting because you're on a radio station or you're on the radio, and you think and it's not as easy as it seems. Well, we know because it hasn't been easy for us. It hasn't been easy. So I mean, what do you say to people that have to make those choices?
I say perception is everything. So if you're looking to only do a leap, that is scary. And it feels like it takes a lot of effort. If you perceive it as a small step, it's not as taxing. And eventually, a lot of small steps acquire the same distance as a leap. So, what I'm saying is that sometimes people are so worried about taking this gigantic leap of faith that they never do anything at all. But if they were to take small steps and, like you said, be patient, which you should be patient because you're working toward what you want in life. I don't know what else deserves your patience and time. It's funny to me how a person will watch like 10 Netflix shows with no problem, but won't invest 30 minutes, which is the average of a show, in researching what they want to do, in researching how they can make it happen, in researching what are different ways to get me to that point. Because again, how you invest your time is who you are, and it blows my mind because everyone has a problem for every solution you offer. Why don't you try that? Oh, no, I can't do that because of this. Why are you looking to this? Oh, no, it's not going to work out. Again, it goes back to the mind. If you don't believe it's yours and you can do it, then why would you even try to pursue it or ever choose it? Because you don't think you should even be doing it in the first place. Your self-talk is extremely important. And if you're like, oh, screw everyone's thoughts and I don't care about that, and I'm gonna do what I want, and life is this and life is that, then you're absolutely right. That's life is that for you.
It might be also a kind of um, shield, making up
Of course.
excuses.
Yeah, because you don't want to fail. Rejection's scary. Rejection doesn't feel good. Failing
E-
doesn't feel good.
Even if even, and I'm just going to give an example here. Even if you just walk for 20 minutes 3 times a week, it does make a difference. It does make a difference in your body. So you're absolutely right on saying you can spend 30 minutes, an hour a day. I think we all do. I think we all have at least 30 minutes, that we can meditate, or we can practice our singing, or reading a book, or researching how we want our small business to you know um, open.
Yeah, I mean, but also being kind to yourself, allowing yourself to not be the greatest at something, and not losing enthusiasm, allowing yourself to fail over and over again because you love it so much that you don't mind failing at what you love, because you would rather fail at what you love than succeed at what you hate. You would rather fail as a dancer over and over again than succeed as a manager at your company.
And that's what actually turns people off, the failure
Mhm.
of not being able to. That's another factor, failure. When people fail too many times, they say, this is not for me, screw it.
Yeah, which is wild to me because if you loved it, you wouldn't feel that way.
As somebody that auditions, I think I've gotten more no's than yes. And people think like I get so many yeses, but guys, I really honestly only put when I honestly get casted at something. But you haven't seen the other 45 no's and emails that I
Yeah.
have received a no. So
Yeah, it's like a photo.
exactly, and it's just what people want to show also. So when we come back, I want us to see what we can go ahead and tell people that feel stuck.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
want us to try to maybe give them a little bit of light. So we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. Remember, You can always leave your comments at Common Grounds Radio on Instagram. If you have any questions for me or SB, you know, you can go ahead and follow and send them over there. We're gonna be right back here at GKI Radio. All right, and we are back here at GKI Radio. This is Commen Grounds. I'm Will Urbina and SB also here. And we were just discussing of how to reach or how to even get started with your dream, while living life and working a 9 to 5, or taking care of family members or taking care of children. And a lot of people can say it's very easy, but it's really not. It's really not. But it's just a matter of um, you know taking that first step, like you say, SB.
Yeah, I mean, because if it was easy, this wouldn't be a conversation. No one's talking about how to brush teeth because that doesn't require any effort. There's no tutorials or podcasts about, how do we tie our shoelaces today? Like, we are here because it's not easy, but at the same time, because it's not easy, that's what makes it worth it. Because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth the thought. Things that make you feel alive are going to be hard to get. So, I mean, there's a lot that we can say about this, but it's believing that you deserve it. It's taking those small steps. It's being open to rejection and failure and feeling inadequate, because guess what? You're going to feel inadequate. You're going to feel worthless. You're going to feel like a loser. You're going to feel like you're nothing. You're going to see other people doing exactly what you want to do and more, and it's going to drive you insane. But the question is, do you get jealous when you see that, or do you get motivated? That's a really good question to ask yourself. No matter how sad I've ever felt, no matter how down I ever felt, when I saw somebody else doing what I want to do, I never felt jealousy. I always felt motivation.
And that's
You know,
that's really important. I don't think anybody should be jealous, because you're actually doing your own race. You're only competing with yourself. You're not competing with anybody else.
yeah, and that's the thing. People don't feel that way. Social
I have a
media
lot of
really destroy people's perception of themselves.
and that's what I was gonna touch. Like, I have a lot of, on Facebook and Instagram, a lot of people in the industry. In the industry, meaning, film producers, actors, singers, and I see them. I see them constantly posting things, and I have to realize that my race is completely different than theirs. My journey is it's completely different than theirs. This is my journey,
Hmm.
not theirs. So that's something great that everybody has to realize when you want to start your own business, your small business. Maybe you have an idea that has been done before, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna fail, or that doesn't mean that that flower shop would not, it's gonna be not as good as the one on the other side of town.
Exactly.
So you have to go ahead and believe in yourself, and also believe in your product too, not just in yourself and the product that you're offering to people.
Yeah, it used to blow my mind when someone would give me their CD and I would ask them on a scale from 1 to 10, where do you rate it? Oh, like a 7. And I don't want it. Well, what do you mean I don't want it? Well, you're the one that created it. So if you don't think it's a 10, then why would I think it's a 10? And
Right.
you can argue, yeah, modesty. No. Modesty does not mean you walk around trashing what you are or what you do. Modesty just means you don't carry yourself in an ugly way. You try to down other people and you're not throwing in people's faces. Like, you're supposed to know that you're great.
Absolutely. I mean, if you are not your number one fan, who is gonna be? If you don't believe that you have this talent, or you have this greatness to do something great, to show a product, or that you can be one of the greatest doctors or the best student in your class, or or a great singer. I mean, if you don't believe that, who is going to? I mean, I don't think anybody will except yourself.
Yeah, it's like Keith Sweat said, right? Nobody, right? You have to really understand that this really is a battle of the mind. It's not really about anything else. Like there's skill versus will.
Yeah.
Skill is which is good. It's dope to have, but will you do it or will you not do it? Skill can only take you so far, but will can take you to a whole nother level. And it all boils down to, it doesn't really matter what the responsibilities are. It's about the direction. Yeah, you have a kid or you have something else, so you can't move at the pace you want to move, but you can still move. It might not be exactly the speed you want to be at, but there's still direction you can take toward what you want. And like you said, be patient.
For many years, or many couple years, I was very afraid of sharing some of my things on social media, because I had people that knew me from before, and I was afraid of what they were going to think about me, until one
Yeah.
day I said, you know what, I am an actor. I do this for a living, you know. I And I was proud of it, and I started believing, you know, that you are who you say you are, or who you want to be.
Yeah, it's like that moment in the Matrix, right? The first one when and Neo's supposed to run from the agent and he doesn't run. And he's like, what's going on? And he goes, he's beginning to believe. When you start believing that you're what it's supposed to be, but you're on the right direction, that is yours, you change a lot. Your
That's right.
actions change, your self-talk change.
Believe that you're the best chef. Believe that your food truck is the best. Believe that your coffee shop is serves the best cappuccinos. Believe, that you can be the best attorney or doctor, or whatever it is that you want to be out there and doing. Believe that. That right there. It's the key where it all starts.
Yeah, and also, there's this stigma where you have to leave your job to do what you want to do. No, once your 9 to 5 is over, you begin your 5 to 9.
You can be a wrestler and be a customer service agent during the day, you know, and you
Yeah,
be a wrestler at night.
yeah. I mean, Nacho Libre was a friar in the day and a luchador in the night.
I don't know if that one. I mean, that's a good example, but Nacho Libre.
Yeah, even making chips and salads for the niños,
Yeah,
during the day, and then fighting at night. Again, it's really important that we understand that we have what we need to do what needs to be done.
yeah, absolutely.
It's within you.
And definitely, I know you have. Before we wrap up this first episode, I know you have some words for our listeners that I would love for you to share them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for me, my thought to wrap this up, or our thought, I should say, to wrap this up is it's a process. It's a process that requires consistency, that needs to be constant and never stopping, because there's always going to be people watching. But the question is, how bad do you want it? When we are on that path to get whatever our goals are, we have to be willing to go far and go hard and have hard. And, sometimes you're going to end up with scars, but at the end of the day, the reality is if you have a scar or get one doing things that you love, then doesn't really feel like anything. A push feels like a nudge. It feels like nothing ever happened. And the idea is to believe in yourself the same way, Buzz Lightyear did in Toy Story. He had no proof. He couldn't fly, he couldn't shoot lasers, but he believed of only one thing being the truth, and that is I am a space cadet. And there was no lasers, no flying, there was no none of that. So your belief will take you places that will amaze you, but being patient because maybe you can't do it right now. Maybe your responsibilities are too difficult. That's fine. Try it next year. Try it a year later. There's so many actors or people that blew up after the age of 50. So what is the rush? It goes back to what you were saying. You're running your own race against yourself.
That's right. And only you can make that race, or you can win, or you can sit back down on the sidelines. Only you are the only one that is the driver of that vehicle, which is called your destiny. And you can live your whole life wanting to do something, have a dream, or you could just go ahead and sit down and just watch the rest pass you by.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
and
this episode.
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't. You know,
You know, as long as you're
but
okay with.
yeah. Hopefully, this episode was enlightening for a lot of people. Hopefully, people would be able to take this and say, you know what, tomorrow morning I'm starting, even if it's 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and start. You know, um, doing something. Maybe that would give me some a little bit of joy. So that
Yeah.
would be great if we were able to, inspire you in some sort of way in our first episode. Remember, you can go ahead and call us at 407-476-9059, and you can leave us any questions, any feedback for me or SB that you might have. We welcome all that feedback. And also, you can follow us on Instagram at Common Grounds Radio. And we're every week actually we're gonna go ahead and have some exclusive content from SB, and and our followers and our listeners could go ahead and you know uh, follow us there and see any updates, or even actually message us with any questions that they might have. So definitely this week we're gonna have something in our Instagram page about this topic, and then
Definitely.
um, yeah, we're gonna have something about this topic, exclusively from SB. So make sure you check it out at Common Grounds Radio on Instagram. And again, our phone number is 407-476-9059. I'm Will Urbina. Thank you so much for listening. And SB, thank you so much. I appreciate your insight in this. And, I'm glad that we got this first episode. And hopefully the audience enjoyed what they heard.
Yeah, I had a great time, had a blast. Love the information that we went over. Appreciate your insight as well. And we look forward to many more.
Absolutely. So again, I want to thank everybody for listening to us. I'm on Instagram at willurbina.act and SB.
Yep, just SB the anomaly. Everything is SBTHE anomaly with two those.
All right. Well, thank you, SB. You have a great week, and we will see you all next week. Well, hear you, or you'll hear us next week. Remember, we're on GKI Radio every Thursday night at 9 p.m. So make sure you check us out. And we're also on repeat every Sunday, also on GKI Radio. Thank you for listening, and have a great night, and take care of yourselves.
Yes, sir.